Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Everyone, and welcome to Freestyle Friday right here on the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. We have with us today our wonderful, illustrious women panelists that are Freestyle Friday experts. Let everybody hear you say something, Asha, over the time you cough, right? Let everybody hear you say hello over there.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday.
I'm so glad you're here, and I know everything that's on your plate today, so for you to show up is really showing up. Is a big deal, and we're going to end up ultimately starting with you first, so you'll be able to hop off and go take care of the other things. So we're glad to have you here as our mental health expert, and so get your minds right. Natasha Halliday is in the house. We have Pamela Howard is back. Woo! Yes, our luxury event planning specialist.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes, and she has her baby grandbaby over there, Harmony. And Harmony's like, hey, put me on that screen. I want to be on there. Glad to see you today, Pam. Glad you're here. Sharon D. Brown, our self-carepreneur expert, is here. And she talks to us about everything ranging from self-care all the way to wealth care. You name it, it's Sharon D. Brown. How are you, Sharon?
I am well this morning. Just so happy to be here with you ladies.
I'm so glad you're here. And speaking of which, Sharon is actually going to be our expert that's coming on, and we're going to get to hear her backstory and some tips that she'll be sharing with us on our Monday episode. So you are in for a full hour of learning from this genius, is what she really is. So I'm excited about it. So make sure you all tune in and let everybody know that Sharon D. Brown will be right here on the Kim Jacobs Show for an exclusive interview. Natasha, Pam, same thing applies. Anytime you ever want to come and we spend the whole hour together, you're always welcome. Okay. All right. So grab your seats, everybody. Let's see who's in the studio audience. I see you all coming in. As you come in, put your comments and let us know that where you're visiting in from. We'd love to be able to acknowledge you. If you have questions for our experts, please make sure that you pop those questions up. We're going to go ahead and get started right away with you, Natasha, today, and take it away.
Well, good morning, everyone. I thought that given it was, it's March, it's Women's History Month, we are celebrating all things women. I thought, let's look a little bit at women, and because I'm the mental health expert, I got to talk about mental health. So one of the things I find so fascinating when we look at Women's History Month and International Women's Day is part of what we focus on is the disparities that have existed between men and women, the way women have been marginalized. And to think that doesn't take a toll on our mental health, it does. There is, the feeling of being less than, to not being acknowledged, to be silenced. That's the thing that gets all my synapses going. The thought of being silenced and not being given a voice. And that has tremendous impact. So I'm going to cover quickly some of the impact and then look a little bit at what can be done. And I'm like just going over the surface here. I could talk about this probably for weeks, but we're just going to tap into it a little bit. So when we experience marginalization as women, when we are silenced, when we experience these things, it affects our stress, obviously. Our anxiety can increase. We can deal with depression, maybe low self-esteem. There could be a feeling of powerlessness or hopelessness, cultural or generational trauma, because this could go on. One of the things that I found is sometimes as a therapist, when I'm talking to my clients, I'm like, why do you think you were holding back? And they're like, because I kept getting the message, don't do this. And sometimes that comes from the mom or the older sister who has already been in a position where something has taught her to kind of try to fade into the background rather than stand in the truth of who she is and, there's that ongoing challenge of, can I shine? And even if some people don't enjoy my shine, can I shine anyways? If some people feel less than because I'm shining, I'm not trying to tear them down. I'm just being true to who I am. Right. But when we look at that, how do we get to that place? So one huge thing, and this has been something I've been focusing more on lately, is looking at the concept of authenticity. I think in this digital age where we can use AI, like I keep seeing these ads for AI apps that you could be like in a picture, and then it's like, and I'm like, it's the same picture, and the AI makes all the changes.
Right.
And so like, why don't you just choose not to post it rather than choose to post a doctored version of what you look like? Because to me, it's teaching us the subliminal message of, you don't look good enough. This is not okay. Let me fix you. And so I think, as there's a pressure of how we look as women. This can be part of why our self-esteem and our self-worth can be impacted. So when we look at authenticity is about discovering who your true self is and then walking in that. So I'll give you a silly example. I'm a snorter. A lot of people find it, they hate hearing people snort when they laugh.
Like when you laugh, like
I snort a bit when I laugh. I can't control it. But I used to be all apologetic. I'm like, if that's what my body does, come on, it's just a noise. Get over it. Now I embrace it. And because I do stand up, I welcome the snorters, because snorting's a compliment to me now. When I'm telling jokes and I hear some good snorts in the audience, I'm like, thank you. Yes, you're appreciating the joke. So, but it's simple things like, imagine now we could be chastised for an involuntary response our body has. And then we can hold shame about something that's happening that we don't even have control over. And then what do? We try to stifle those things. So authenticity is really about recognizing, who am I? And the thing is, we've got to stop and look. And I think one of the things is, life is so noisy lately, it's hard to hear and get that clarity. So I used to, as a younger person, I used to avoid solitude. Now I seek solitude, because in that solitude, there's this quiet where I can, as a believer, I can hear the Holy Spirit, but I also can check in within myself to say, what am I even hearing from myself? Who do I want to be? Who am I? Am I taking the steps to walk in alignment with who I want to be? And then learning to go, even if not everybody receives that with joy and happiness, if I'm not being harmful, if I am showing up as the person that I believe God has called me to be, can I be okay if not everybody's okay with it? But choosing to stay authentic to that thing. It's not an easy thing.
no.
It's practice, ongoing, and it's checking in again and again with self about different things. So I think it's really important when we're looking at, amplifying our voices as women, which we need to do. And I hope as women, we're giving opportunity for other women to amplify their voices. Like, I heard of this lady, Kim Jacobs, and she has a show, and she's amplifying women's voices all the time. She's giving women an opportunity to speak their truth, to speak their area of expertise. And it's such a beautiful thing, because these are some of the things that we need to counteract the way society has been in the past, where there's been a silencing, where there's been a quieting of the female voice. So I think it's really important to look at, as women, how are we stepping into our authentic space? Are we choosing to do things because it matters to us, or are we being led by the trends? Right? Like, trends make me laugh too, because again, we can have trends that go against what somebody's natural body state is. Like, if a big butt is in, if you don't have a big butt, what are you going to do? You're going to go buy one? Like, it's be true to who you are, accept what you've been given, and be true to who you are. So I think authenticity is really important. I think dialogue and having these kind of discourses where we're having, we're opening up about it, giving women safe spaces to talk about their experiences is very important. Because one of the things that we can do is, the more we share things, a lot of the times in just that honest space, we already start to decrease stigma. Right. And so when we look at, if somebody's dealing with a mental health issue, can often be stigma. I don't know how many female clients I've had who chastise themselves, believing they're not a strong enough woman because they're having difficulty. And often what they're not doing is assessing, I was carrying this and I was managing, when what I carried was increased, why do you think you'd be able to manage it the same way? Right? So even dismantling narratives of a strong woman means you never struggle. My strength is in my ability to be honest, to be vulnerable, to say, I need to assess my boundaries because there's too much. Or, there's this person called a balance doctor, or assess where the balance is. And balance isn't about 50-50, but balance is me recognizing that during the week when I'm working, that a certain amount of my energy goes into my job. But maybe on a Sunday, which is the day that I worship and I go to church, I'm going to give more time. I give time to that every day, but I'm going to give more time to that on that day. And that's part of my balance, is looking where I can, the things that are of value to me, the things that are necessary in my life, how to make sure all of those things have time, right? So it's really important to be able to have dialogue about this, do that education piece, but also have we'll call it the non-education discourse, where it's just the true experiences of who we are, so that we can learn from one another. Because I don't know how many times in hearing another woman speak, and then I reflect on my own life, I'm like, oh, maybe I was being too harsh on myself. Oh, I didn't realize this. And I'm learning things that help me improve myself, that help me move more into that place of balance, or in that place of authenticity and self-acceptance. So it's really important to educate, create awareness. And some of that's mental health education, right? Understanding what depression is. I know a lot of times I've talked to women who are in depression, are in burnout, and don't know it. They think, they start to hear words like lazy in their mind, and they start to stigmatize themselves with words that aren't in congruence with what they're really experiencing. And so when you have knowledge of what it is, then you can go, now I understand what this is. Because it's like, I always use GPS analogies. If I don't know my exact location, how am I going to get directions to go elsewhere? So I have to tune into self to know, where am I at right now? If I'm experiencing some symptoms of depression, it's not laziness. I need to deal with those symptoms of depression, rather than just call myself lazy and probably get more mad at myself, and then probably want to do less because I'm so weighed down by those negative thoughts. So it's really important to check in, do that get mental health education, provide it where you can, promote awareness, do what we can to decrease stigma, create those safe spaces for dialogue. Again, because as we listen to the stories of other women, we often hear elements of our own story within them. So it's really important to be able to share our stories, so that, one, we can realize we're not in a silo over here experiencing something while every other woman's over there flourishing and living like she's golden, and we're thinking, well, what's wrong with me? No, let's talk to the woman who says, yeah, I don't know, something silly like their heel broke and they had to walk on a limp till they got to their extra pair of shoes in the car, whatever that might look like. But looking at the fact that none of us are perfect, all of us have challenges. That's a real part of life. When we look at how people post online, it's not often realistic, and we don't want to compare ourselves to a false narrative. We want to, again, tap into the truth. Are we creating support systems? Who are those people that we are providing support to and getting support from? Whether that is a friend, a relative, your mother, your auntie, someone at church, whether that is seeking therapy and seeing a counselor or a therapist, who are, hiring a coach. A lot of entrepreneurs struggle until they hire a coach and then get one validation for the rocky road that is entrepreneurship, but also learning tips and tricks to manage and move more fluently through the process of entrepreneurship. So getting support, having a support system is really important. Empowering one another, again, that to me is in line with the aspect of amplifying our voices. And three last points. So one, reframing and redefining the unhelpful narratives that we've heard about women. When women are women are this, women are that. If those aren't helpful, let's redefine those narratives in ways that better show who we really are as women. Remember, self-care is not selfish. Self-care is a necessary function of life. And it actually is, to me, generous to others. Because if I can care for myself, I can come to you with a better version of me. And the last thing is, and I'm going to put it like this, examine the ingredients of your life. And why I said it like that is, sometimes when you look at recipes, if you've ever gone to use a recipe and you didn't have one or two ingredients. Now, some ingredients are absolutely essential, but I've had one or two times where I'm like, oh, I don't have all the ingredients, and I make it and it tastes fantastic. So sometimes I think we have ingredients that, albeit they can complement, we don't lose without them there. So can we examine all the things that we're including in our life and see, are there things that we don't need to be doing right now? And it's not going to ruin the outcome, the meal, or whatever we're trying to create in our life. And just recognizing that maybe part of the stress is in trying to do too much and trying to be too much. And so are there things that we can put aside, even if it's temporarily? But again, examine those ingredients of your life. See if there's an ingredient you can leave out. Like, do you eat salt, garlic salt, and Himalayan salt? Probably not, because that means it's probably too salty. But can you examine those ingredients to see if there's some things that you can leave out? So those are my thoughts today about how we look for, as we're in Women's History Month, how we as women can take some examination of where we're at and look at how to best support ourselves, and seek support if need be for our mental health and our mental well-being.
Wow. And people are going to definitely have a couple of comments, so stay on for a few more minutes. But let's tell people how they can stay connected with you, Natasha.
So all my social media, I'm at Natasha A. Halliday. So NATASHA HALLIDAY. So that's all my social media, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my Instagram. Unfortunately, my website, Natasha Halliday, is down right now. Working on that. But I will get that up and running. But my website is natashahalliday.com. And my other website for my therapy is emergingresilient.ca. That one is up and running. But that is another way it has a contact form to find me, to get in touch with me.
What is that? Emerging what?
Emerging, so EMERGING, resilient.ca.
Okay, I'm going to put that there.
Yeah.
Just so that people can, and I'll take just right now the website, the other one off, because I really want you all to know how to connect with her. So if you go to Emerging Resilient,
that's it, .ca.
.ca. I don't know if you noticed, you can pay me later, but I typed all your points. Did you notice that?
Look at you, you're good. Because I was like, no, don't worry about the points, because I wasn't even sure which ones I was going to use. That's why I didn't give them to you, because I knew I had more than I needed or more than I was going to use, and so I was like, I'll pick and choose as I'm talking.
Well, those are some great points. Who's pouring into you, as we just recap here? Who's pouring into you? And then checking in on your mental health, know where you are currently. You said giving women safe spaces to talk about our experiences, being honest and vulnerable, and marginalization, how to not be impacted mentally as women, and using authenticity to be true to who we are. Anybody on the panel, and then you also, you said who's pouring into you. Anybody on the panel want to respond to anything that Natasha said? Because I know I have a response as well. I have a question, actually. If so, just unmute yourself. Okay, so I know that something just happened. Let's see. Oh, I see you over there, Travis Michelle. You said on Instagram, hello, ladies. Hello, gorgeous. New York City. That's where she's coming in from. So glad to have you. And Travis, Michelle, and I see you all that are on as well. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the comment section. Natasha, the question I had is, with marginalization, do you think that it is good to try to change things from the inside out, or do you think it's better to just be like, that's your issue, poof, be gone, I'm done with that? What's your theory on that? Because you're the mental health expert.
I think that you have to know who you are to look at your involvement in trying to create change, because change, when we're looking at systemic issues, is long and arduous, and some people become quite worn out and defeated in that process. And so it's one, knowing, is this right now what I want to pick up? Can I? And then how much? So I know that when the pandemic hit and the horrible incident with George Floyd happened, and then incident after incident was happening, one of the things I had to assess was, okay, I can do this. I refuse to watch every video.
Yeah, I refuse to.
I have a very specific belief that whatever we ingest, we can't unsee what we see, and we can't unhear what we hear. And I had to know that if I watched every video, I have to live with how that impacted me. And I don't have to watch every video to know that there's injustices against people in Black bodies. And I can still speak out against it. I can still educate about it. I can still do my part of the fight without having to watch every video. Watching the video doesn't make me woke. I live in a Black body. I know, right? So that was one of the ways that I had to go for Natasha, what makes sense.
Mhm.
And then looking at the point where, because when the pandemic hit, we were thinking about people's mental health. I was going to work all day long and coming home and being in different webinars and different things. And at one point I was like, girl, you're not resting. And so I had to pause and go, I love people and I want to be of help, but I can't continue at this pace. So I can't do it all. I have to do some of it and not it all. And so it's really important for each person to, and again, that's why those moments of solitude where you check in to know, who am I really? Because what your capacity is changes all the time, right? And so if you're not aware of what your capacity is, if you're not aware of maybe when it's getting to be too much, we easily move into that space of trying to operate at the level of too much. And that's often when we move into places of burnout.
Okay, I took some good notes on this. That's a great answer. So thank you. Because so basically it's what I feel my capacity is to be able to handle whatever I may be faced with if I'm trying to change it from the inside out. And
Right.
that's a conscious, intentional decision that has to be made. And so I love that. Thank you. And one other thing I was going to ask you was one other thing. Oh, it was something so important. It was so silly, actually, because you talked about ingredients. You were talking about, I was taking notes, but you were talking about ingredients. Well, one time I did miss a very important ingredient. That's why you cannot talk to your bestie when you are cooking, because I was making a cream cheese pound cake. For the first time, I was so excited. I did everything right, followed all of the instructions, and then Sean called, and right in the middle of talking to her, I came back and I just picked up where I thought I left off. Well, I left flour out. So a cream cheese pound cake is this? And then I tried to convince people to eat it anyway. I was like, it's like a souffle. They were like, no. They would not they would not eat.
Yes, some ingredients are vital, but some can be left out.
I stirred in some flour and tried to rebake it after that already. That was even worse. So it was like chunky. So the bottom line is I started from scratch, did the entire cream cheese pound cake over, and they ate it within like 15 minutes. Everybody just got a nice, warm, great slice. So missing ingredients can be detrimental sometimes too.
Sometimes, absolutely. And but that's part of the assessment is this an essential ingredient? Right? So when you ask the question about what part of the fight to get involved in, we can look at, all the steps we're taking maybe as those ingredients. Do we need to take all these steps? Is it just on us? Sometimes we're so convicted by what's not working that we forget we're not the only one doing this too. So it's really, pausing to take into consideration all the elements and all the pieces so that we can make informed decisions. Because sometimes when we ride on the coattail of our emotions or on where our passions are, we miss things.
That's really good. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions today. And anybody else have anything that you want to say before we go? What is your
capacity as it changes? Oh, I think it's about just saying that the recognition that capacity can change up and down.
Okay,
right?
So capacity.
Yeah. Because my capacity one day to another could be different depending on something new comes up, right?
Right. So that the question, right? So I just want to make sure because stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so the question is, what is your capacity to change? That's good. Thank you so much for answering that. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Make sure you all stay connected with Natasha. Natasha, we're going to take a commercial break, and that way you can go ahead and go out. And actually, you know what? We're not going to take a break. We're going to go to our next expert, and instead of taking a formal commercial break, because this person, Carrie Ann Hilliard, sent in a video. And so as we get ready to play her video, which she is our Helping Adolescents Speak Out, as well as helping single parents that are dealing with overcoming obstacles of being a single parent, She's our expert to help us with that, and she has something to say. So we're going to let her say it now. Have a great day, Natalia.
Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. And I hope that you're having a great time on the Kim Jacobs Morning Show. Yes, I love Pastor Kim with all my heart, all my soul, and all my being. All right, you guys, it is your girl, Carrie Ann Hilliard here, the Chief Visionary and founder of Help Adolescents Speak Out. I am also the CEO of God's Child Publishing. And yes, I am a published author. I have my two books here, Overcoming Single Parent Obstacles and then Overcoming Single Parent Obstacles Adulting. Yes, yes. You guys, I just wanted to leave you with a couple of parenting tips, all right? So, tip number one. Always listen. Yes, listen to what your child, your baby, your child, your young adult, your teenager, always listen to what they're saying. They have so much to say, and they may not have all the tools to say them, but you have to make sure you're listening, all right? And then tip number two, have an open and kind heart. You never know what having an open and kind heart would mean for that person, would mean for that young individual. Just being open to listening to what they're saying and making sure you have the right heart posture will help you to build a better relationship with your child. All right. And tip number three, if you have a young adult, you have to stop being a helicopter parent and start being a managerial parent. What is a managerial parent, you may wonder? Well, it's basically you're managing, helping them into adulthood. You're no longer you're no longer taking the lead. There we go. You're no longer taking the lead for what their life looks like. You gave them all the tools that they need. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and manage your young adult. All right. So, those are the three tips that I wanted to share with you. And one more thing I would like to let you know. On later this evening at 6 p.m., we will be having our parent summit. Yes, our parent summit. It's going to be a roundtable event bringing all kinds of parents together from all walks of life. We're going to be sharing all kinds of stories and details, things that can help you grow and become the successful person that you know that you are. All right. So that's all that I have for today. Thank you for listening to my message, and I hope to see you at the Parent Summit. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
Yay! I love that. Thank you, Carrie Ann, for taking the time to send in a video. She's one of our Freestyle Friday experts, and she works a lot in doing this specific time frame. But Carrie Ann, that's with 2 R's and 2 N's, carrieannhilliard.com is where you can find more about the actual parent summit that's happening this evening. Now, if you're not watching this episode on March, what's today's date? 21st, and you're watching it as a replay, because these tips are tips that are all year round. So you may be watching this at a different date. But if it was March 21st, she's having a parent summit, and I want to put that flyer up so that you can know exactly where to go. It's carrieannhilliard.com. They're celebrating National Single Parents Day, and it's an event that is going to be life transforming for you if you are a single parent. Get in the house. It's a parent summit happening this evening at 6 o'clock p.m. until 7:30 in Charlotte, North Carolina, if you're anywhere near the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Let me just put her contact information up again, carrieannhilliard.com. carrieannhilliard.com. If you have questions or anything for Carrie Ann dealing with single parent obstacles, put those comments here. She'll be able to come back and look at them later and still address them. She's also doing a Spring into Action, helping adolescents speak out as they spring into action, because it's springtime, everybody, right here and now. March 23rd on Sunday at 2 p.m. And again, this is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So the Kim Jacobs Show streams in over 100 countries around the world, and it's on Roku and all kind of places. So even on iHeartRadio and so forth. So I don't know if you're near Charlotte, but if you are, check out Carrie Ann Hilliard. All right. It's already, I feel like we had a lot that we've been saying in this short period of time. Do you all?
Yeah, most definitely.
And I want to also make sure too that you all in the studio audience, if there are any topics that's pressing you and you're like, please, Kim, mention this. This is happening and we want to talk about it. Put it in the comment section and we will do everything we can to attempt to address that for you. I see you, Birmingham housewives, and I see you, Travis Michelle. I see all of you that are over there on Instagram. I see you, Alicia. I see you, Dr. Lotus Richey from the Lotus Richey Ignite Show. Her and another special guest are coming here on the Kim Jacobs Show next week as well. And you all make sure you subscribe to Lotus Richey Ignites You Show. Her show is global and epic, one that's going to be a game changer for you. I see you, Yolanda. Yolanda was just a guest here on the Kim Jacobs Show as well. Dr. Eleanor, Natasha, I see all of you all. All right. So I'd like to acknowledge my guests because you all mean so much to us here at the Kim Jacobs Show. Thanks so much for sharing this video. I love supporting youth and their parents, Carrie Ann said. Thank you, Carrie Ann. Any comments to anything that Carrie Ann just shared that you all want to say as a panel?
Yeah, I just want to say those are some excellent tips. And it's good to be able to have someone, one, who experienced it, and then also who can give tips. And if for any parents out there, just know that you're not alone. And it's not a failure or anything. It's one of those things is that one, as an individual, you're always growing. And then your kid is always, your, shall I say, your child is always growing as well. And to be able to be a part of, a group, organization, or a community that really just shines light on that. And again, it's almost kind of like similar to the previous speaker where she was kind of talking about like the things that you see on social media, and you get to choose. You get to choose what you see. And so Carrie Ann is definitely a light, and especially when it comes to her and in dealing with parents and children.
Absolutely. And she even has adulting now too. That's dealing with your adult children and know how to manage those adult children. She's an expert in dealing with that also. So Carrie Ann's Parent Summit is this evening on Friday, March 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right at the People's Market off of Elizabeth Avenue, off the People's Market off of Elizabeth Avenue. So you want to get together to be a parent and learn more, whether you're a single parent or a married parent, it doesn't matter. Parenting tips are some great tips. So make sure you go in the house and let her know that we sent you the Kim Jacobs Show. All right. One thing I want to take a moment to do is let's go to, I want to say thank you because I received an honor from Lady Robbie Mater, and I'll put this certificate up. I don't know if you all can see it there, but it says, congratulations. I received this in the mail yesterday. International Women's Day, March 8th, 2025, certificate of congratulations. This certificate is proudly presented to me, to Kim Jacobs, on behalf of the Pennsylvania chapter, which I know that means that Dr. Nefertina Serrano has something to do with this, and is signed by Madam Robbie Mater and Caroline Makaka. And I just want to say thank you for bestowing this honor on me. I tell people oftentimes, and they also sent this beautiful trophy. It was all nicely packaged. And I was like, what? Some people don't even write or put letters in the mail or anything like that too often anymore. So to receive this was a very special treat. And what it does for me is it just lets me know that God's mandate over my life is happening, which is just to let my light shine before all men and to be able to salt this earth. And as long as I can I have 5 children. Many times you all know about that I have 5 children. I talk a lot about Gabe, but literally I am the mother of 5 children. So I want to make sure I put that up because it's my greatest joy, mother. But one of the things is Gabe transitioned from this earth, we know, and I just want to always make sure he's smiling from heaven as we continue to get defibrillators put in public spaces on behalf of Gabe's Heart Foundation. So thank you, GSFE and Lady Robbie Mater and Dr. Nefertina Serrano for bestowing this honor on me. Thank you. I gotta say one more thing, and it's real brief because I'm not making points, but I have to say this. Sometimes our head is lifted above an iceberg, and people only but what they don't. Harmony over there. Harmony, like, yes, preach, girl, preach, yes. So what they don't see is they don't see the fact that there are so many people beneath the iceberg that are pushing you forward. So yes, you may be the face that's seen, but without Mackenzie backstage, without Cassandra and Pastor Selwyn, without my mom, and I'm not going to name everybody, but without my children and different ones that have been supporting me on this journey, it is like huge deal that I have my aunts and you name it, my bishop and family, my church family, Promise Fellowship, and even my church family from before. I really want to make sure that people know that it's not a Kim thing only. Without these people supporting me on this journey, life, it wouldn't be possible for these things to happen. And even all of you all that are the Freestyle Friday experts here on the Kim Jacobs Show, the show is nice, but when y'all come on, it's great. So I really appreciate everything that God is doing in my life. All right, I just wanted to say that because I like to give thanks when in honor to somebody that would take the time to do that for me. All right, so let's go to our self-carepreneur expert and see what you want to talk to us about today, Sharon D. Brown.
Yeah. And so, for everyone who may not know me, again, I am Sharon D. Brown. I am the founder of Self Care U Academy. And pretty much with the Academy, it focuses on entrepreneurs and leaders so that they can safeguard their sanity and supercharge self-care in order to do that so that they can thrive, because it's not only of how we live our life, but especially if you're on a mission, on a movement, having ministry, it takes a lot, and that's something that people don't always talk about. So for today, what I want to talk about is the 7 M's. I had created a tracker because one thing that I've learned is that one being human, and then two, being an entrepreneur, there's so many different things that we have to focus on. And I have gotten really good coaching, but it was kind of like, do this, do that, do this, do that. And when it comes to even our own things that we do for our like personal health, for our mind and our spirit, and a lot of times we doing things just on the cuff, or we're just in the habit and we don't always have them written down. So again, I created the tracker so that, especially when it comes to business, to really kind of combine the self-care and the business aspect together. And even what you're doing in business, that's a part of self-care as well. And so I'm going to mention them all, but today I've only just focused on a few. But in general, when it comes to the 7 M's, it is your mission, then to meditate.
Oh, you're going to say them quick. Let me go ahead.
That's okay. I'm going to go back to some of them.
Okay.
To motivate, to move, to manifest, to market, and to monetize. And one thing I'm going to say just real quick, like for me, when it came to marketing and monetize, and that is still something I'm going to say, well, one, it had not been in my repertoire, especially coming from mental health, because I've always worked with someone. So meaning in having a shift of how I view that, but even how I view myself and my own beliefs. And so that a part of self-care is really taking the time to say, what does that mean and how am I moving? And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about being anchored in your mission. And so if we think about Harriet Tubman and even with Maya Angelou,
Mhm.
in that some people may not look at Maya as being a business person, but I just happened to listen to something to her today. It's like, oh yeah, she was all about the business.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times we may see like the outcome or what had happened, but we don't see the work that they put into it. And one thing that I have learned and continue to remind myself, in order to be anchored in the mission, I need to not just know what it is. You know, we write down the mission and sometimes we'll leave it there. No, we need to say it. We need to see it and even write it down on a daily basis. And then you may say, why, Sharon? Why? That is because there are so many distractions. And then, especially for those of you who are mothers, who are parents, who have a family, who have partners, and just other things, life be lifing.
Yes.
And I always say it's always hard to completely explain it. When you know, you know. When you know, you know. But the thing is, when you repeat it, not other people, because you can have it in your mind, but when you repeat it, when you say it, you're reminding yourself. And it doesn't mean anything wrong with you or there's a deficit. It's just how the human mind is. And so that's how you feel your own cup. And that's how you anchor yourself. And it helps you to remind you, because there are going to be times when you're going to like, oh, this is too much. You know, is this really for me? This may not be my calling. No, you repeat it, you repeat it, repeat it. And you go back to your why. And sometimes you may even gain some new enlightenment or revelation to help you with that. Like for me, for instance, let's just say in the beginning, I said, oh yeah, this is my mission. This is my mission. This is my mission. And then I was listening to Dr. Sonia. I'm not going to even say her last name because I'm just not going to say it, only because I just can't pronounce it correctly.
Oh, really?
But if you just, look up Dr. Sonia, you would know who she is. And she's a dynamic business person and speaker. But one of the things she was saying in one of her videos, she was like, yeah, this is a movement. And then when she said it, that hit me. I'm like, yeah, this is self-care is a movement. If I say self-care is a mission, there's no energy there. It wasn't really connecting. But now when I started saying, yeah, Self-Care You Academy, I'm here for a movement to get you, one, to meditate, to move, to do the five wellness boosters, and to learn about, the 7 M's, to let you know, do not leave yourself behind. And so the thing is to kind of think about, and it's an ongoing thing. It's just that what moves you.
That's right. That's good.
That's
Now,
really what it is.
Is this Dr. Jensen?
No. It's Dr. Sonia, just like scribbling or something like
Okay,
that.
yes, fine. I don't know. Okay, keep going. I just was looking to.
Yeah. That's okay. And so the next one is to meditate
Scribbling. Yeah.
and to motivate. And
Meditate
a lot of
and motivate. Okay.
to meditate and to motivate. And even though in the 7 M's, they are separate, but I'm just combining them together. But when it comes to meditate, a lot of times people, associate meditation with, oh, let me sit still.
Right.
That's just only one way. And then for those of you who are very versed in the Bible, it's everywhere in the Bible. And I'm like, that is very interesting, because in the world, it will make you think it's separate. But it's saying that as a way for you to be anchored in your mission, in your movement, is to be able to meditate, to ponder, to think about. And even this comes about to even when you're writing, like, what does this mean? What does my movement mean? Because that also allows you to get deeper and to have a stronger connection to your mission or to your movement or to your ministry. Because if you're not connected with it, if you get detached, because you could be saying, oh, yeah, self-care is blah, 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 blah. If you're not connected, then you will not do the things that you need to do for your ministry and your movement and your mission. And so this is another reason. And like sometimes, because just think about, even when it comes to Harriet Truman, yes, she done all of these wonderful things, but I am sure that she sat down, because I'm pretty sure she was, even though she had this conviction, it's like, hey, we're going to do this, but she also had to have something that she had to hang on to, because there were a lot of people that was against it as well.
That's
And
right.
even some of the people that she was trying to help.
That's right.
And so when you do not sit back and sit down to meditate, then sometimes you can lose sight of what you're even here on this earth for.
That's right.
You know? And so the other thing that comes along with that, I was, working on something within my business. And then it made me think, I'm like, ooh, because, you hear me talk about sitting in silence. But what I want to also remind you, sitting in silence isn't just about, again, the meditation thing or even the deep breathing. Sometimes the sitting in silence could mean that I am writing out my plan for the week, that I am writing out like how I'm going to do something, that I'm writing out what I'm going to do, that I'm thinking about how I'm going to proceed something for myself or for my business. And also remember, we can't separate the two. And even if you have a 9-to-5, you're not completely separated, because your work impacts you and you impact your work. So just remember that in and of itself. And then the other thing is to motivate. It's like, what are you listening to that motivates you, that inspires you? And even though I do listen to a lot of different people, but sometimes I go back and listen to myself. For those of you who know me, I've been out there in social media, for a while, and doing a lot of motivation and inspirational things. And sometimes they be personal and sometimes they just be for y'all, but either way, there are times in which I will go back and listen. I'm like, ooh, yeah, let me go back and listen to my own suggestions.
You need your own advice sometimes, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, just as Natasha has said earlier, we do need to be mindful of what we listen to. So whatever it is that you want for yourself and where you want to go, and if you want to be, again, anchored, whatever it is you want to be anchored in, listen to something that's going to help you with that.
That is good. Excellent. Were you done? I don't want to stop until you're done.
Oh, I had just kind of just paused for a little bit. The only thing I'm going to say again, as I mentioned, I had created a tracker. And so with that tracker, it has a lot of different aspects to it. Pretty much all the things that I've already said, but the 7 M's is just one part of it. It also has, where you can write your affirmation for the day, the word for the day, again, the 7 M's, along when it comes to, content creation, and when it comes to connections, because there's so many different moving parts. And as I told you, I'm like, okay, what is this? And some things I would just forget. So don't, sometimes for whatever reason, as humans, you may think, oh, I can't remember this. Something must be wrong with me. No, the pros have a system. Self-care is having a system, having something that you can look at that is, okay, this is the picture. It doesn't mean you need to do everything that's on it, but it serves as a reminder, because if you're spending a lot of time in trying to remember, you're really taking away from yourself. because you're using up energy and you're using up space. And then, as Kim kind of mentioned a little bit, she used the word like the capacity. So it depletes you of having the emotional capacity to deal with things that may come up unexpected. So for those of you, who want to get the tracker, by all means, it's
that link
out there.
used to get it.
Yes.
Okay, so that bit.ly link, everybody, if you just copy and paste it, it's already in the comment section. And if you're looking at this on one of the other platforms, Roku and Apple TV and different things, just make sure you type this. And audio listeners is bit.ly, the bit.ly link /D as in David, B as in boy, T as in Tom, -now. So bit.ly DBT -now, and you'll be able to get this tracker that Sharon D. Brown is saying. How do they stay connected with you, Sharon?
Yeah, the best way to stay connected with me, one, they can go to my website, which is selfcareuacademy.com, or they can follow me on Instagram, and I'm there as I am Sharon D. Brown.
That's great. I put this as well. The Self-Care U, the letter U, Academy.
YOU.
YOU? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's let me change that because we want to make sure y'all go right to the right place. All right. So it's Self-Care YOU Academy.com. Self-Care YOU Academy.com. I have all kind of listeners and stuff on iHeartRadio too. Okay, I am Sharon D. Brown on social media platforms and selfcareyou Academy.com. And did anybody have any questions, comments, anything? I can tell you I had one, and then we're going to go over here to you, Pam. One of the things that I was thinking about was when you said that writing everything down. I am a really big advocate. If I don't write it down, I promise you it doesn't happen. Even if it's my best intention for it to happen, it still slips through the cracks because I didn't write it down. So I don't know if anybody else has that in the studio audience happen to them, but take heed to that advice. Write everything down. Pam, were you going to say something?
Okay. No, I like that, writing it down. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to close the show out today with our own Pamela Howard, who has been, what do they call you, Grandma, Gigi? What are you over there?
Just Grandma.
Grandma. Harmony, like, don't clap too loud for the baby will wake up. Okay, so Harmony is her new grandchild. She is a first-time grandmother. That alone is how do you balance being a grandma and an author, and I mean all of the different hats. You're event planning, your wife, you're a mother of adult children. You are a woman of many hats. You're a talk show host. So our expert, luxury event planning specialist, Pamela Howard, take it away.
Thank you, Kim. I'm so honored to be here today. And when I thought about the month of honoring women in history, I thought about sharing my perspective on women throughout history who have been architects of luxury. Now, when we think of women in history, we often focus on their political achievements, activism, artistry. But what about the women who planned and curated and orchestrated the luxurious experiences that shaped societies? You know, like Cleopatra, for example. She wasn't just a queen, but she was a master strategist who understood the power of grandeur. You know, her legendary meetings with Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, they weren't just casual encounters. They were lavishly orchestrated events designed to solidify alliances. You know, or Madame de Pompadour, the chief mistress of King Louis XV, who didn't just influence politics, but was the creative force behind some of the most opulent parties and artistic movements in the 18th century in France. And even in America, we look at women like Aaliyah Walker, the daughter of Madam C.J. Walker, who hosted the most exclusive Harlem Renaissance salons where Black excellence and high society were intertwined. Now, these women weren't just enjoying luxury, they were planning it. And they understood that luxury is just not really about wealth. It's about the experience, intention, and the impact. And for those of you that don't know, you have a show, The Occasion Station. And on The Occasion Station, it's not just really a talk show. These women kind of inspired me, along with great coaching I had from the Kim Jacobs. But they inspired me, about, when people think of luxury and they think of, all these material things, but it really is about the experience and the intention and the impact. So whether you plan in a business launch, family gatherings, or just the next phase in your life, you are orchestrating moments that's going to shape your legacy.
I feel like I am over here on a roller coaster. I'm writing all kinds of stuff. Epic. Oh my gosh. I love everything that you just said. Okay, I'm going to put this up. When can people tune into the Occasion Station so that people can watch you and all that you just said that was so eye-opening? Oh my God. Tell us.
So the Occasion Station, it airs every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I go live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and on the Facebook page of the Occasion Station.
And it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Yes.
Every Monday?
Every Monday, yes.
Mondays. Okay. Wow. Let me put that up. I'm going to put that up. And the baby's finally resting over there. So we're going to take advantage of this. Let's see. So we're going to pop this so you know exactly how to stay connected with Pam Howard on the Occasion Station. And Pam, you specifically named it the Occasion Station. Why? Because I see some quotes over here. I'm going to pop it over. But say some of the stuff.
So the Occasion Station, on the Occasion Station, we want people that's listening, that's viewing, to really receive an experience. It's not just about, oh, I'm a planner and, I want to help you plan your event. I do, but I also want you to be able to take tips from the show and be able to utilize them in your own life. Because, to everyone that's listening today, at some point you've curated some type of experience for someone else. We make choices about the atmosphere, emotions, and even how people will remember a moment, So, luxury isn't just about chandeliers and ballrooms. It's about how you make people feel, how you craft an experience, and how you bring vision to life. And that's exactly what women have been doing for centuries. And that's my inspiration in my industry.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you on today, because talking from your inspiration in your industry was very different than anything we've ever done before here. And that's why it's so important to have diversity on even on our panel of experts, to come in and say, these people that you were talking about, I tried to find some images back there. I hope I found the right things. I just wanted to make sure that
I forget what year it was, but there was an actual movie that came out about Madam C.J. Walker, the things that she did. And I mean, it wasn't, the history of her, she was a hairstylist, cosmetologist back in that day. But when she became wealthy, her home was immaculate. And she had these huge Renaissance parties. I mean, they were so elite and royal. You talk about something opulent. It really, really was. And you think, I tell people, all the time, everybody's planning something. It doesn't really matter the industry you in. Even if you're a homemaker, you're always planning or preparing for something. So why not be intentional about it? It really does. The details really do matter. They do matter.
Y'all make sure you stay connected with Pamela Howard at PamelaPlans.com. She has so many hats. Her and her husband, they deal with a lot of different events. They can bring the experience to any occasion that you have. as well in person. So go to PamelaPlans.com and stay connected with her. And I did find this image. This is what Wikipedia had up for Cleopatra, just as an image there. And then they also, because there's so many different images, but I love this one too with Aaliyah Walker. Is that Madam C? That is, because you know what? I had never seen that picture of her. I've only seen about her mom and all of the things that she's done. That out was so beautiful. And I know you said someone else. I was trying to search at the same time. But what a beautiful close to today's episode as we celebrate different women. I definitely want to just celebrate Oprah Winfrey and the many accomplishments that she has brought to our society. She has been a breath of fresh air for many women as a trailblazer, and I'm really honored to be able to just share her image today as well, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show, because we salute her. And okay, anything else that's a closing comment or anything that you want to say? Unmute yourself and say it right quick, and we're going to go ahead and get prepared to get off of this show today.
I just have one final thought. Women that are watching, I want them to recognize their own power as they plan. Whether you're planning a moment, an event, a movement, you are shaping history in ways big and small. So be intentional, elevate the experience, and remember, you don't have to be a queen to create a royal experience. And you may not be a planner like myself, but life is full of events that you plan.
Life is full of events that you plan. You heard it from Grandma Pamela Howard over there. It just shows about how we balance all aspects of our lives. And so she just took it home for you. Okay, Sharon D. Brown, any closing comment?
Yeah, I basically just want to remind individuals to meditate so that you can be anchored in your mission and your movement in your ministry, because the more that you are able to sit back, then you're able to stay connected with yourself and with your divine assignment.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful. And Mackenzie said that if she doesn't write everything down on her calendar, then she automatically forgets it. So make sure you write everything down. Don't forget the event that Carrie Ann Hilliard is hosting this day, today at 6:00 p.m. And you can go to carrieannhilliard.com for the ability to learn more. I invite you on Sunday. I'm a pastor here in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you are new to the Charlotte area, if you're in the Charlotte area, new or old, it doesn't matter. I want you to come and stand on the promises of God with us. We meet at the Brownstone Signature Events venue, and that's the sanctuary area where we hold our services. And we welcome you to come and be a part of Promise Fellowship on Sundays at 10 a.m. All right, everybody. And the final thing I'll tell you is I always want to give you the opportunity to please make sure that you partner with the Kim Jacobs Show. If you haven't already done that, it'll be scrolling as we close the episode out. But take a moment. As a community member, this is how we are able to have our program be brought to you in the comfort of your home. So we encourage you to support the Kim Jacobs Show and to allow us to continue to bring balance to your home, one household at a time. Have a fantastic day, everybody. I saw a final comment, Mackenzie, I think I put over, what was it? Can y'all pray for my daughter? Can y'all pray for my daughter? She has RSV and strep. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we're definitely going to do that. And I want to make sure. Am I saying I don't want to say her name wrong. Is it Layla? No. Hold on. I want to make sure I say the name right. Give me 1 second. I'm calling Mackenzie, and then we're going to get off. Okay. Mackenzie, what's your daughter's first name? So I say it right, because I say it wrong every time. Laura Lai. Okay. Okay. I'm praying in the name of Jesus. You all can pray in whoever's name you pray in, but I pray in the precious name of Jesus, Lord, that you just heal Lorelai's body, Lord, from the inside out. You say that you're the author and the finisher of our faith, Lord, and that you can do all things. It's through your stripes that she can be healed. So we claim healing right now. Remove the RSV and any strep that's in her body, Lord, and restore her back to great health. Lord, we do not take it for granted on this Freestyle Friday that a mother is asking for prayer for her daughter. And so, Lord, I ask that even what her mother stands in the need of, that you allow everything that she desires to have happen for her selfless act of thinking of her daughter, someone other than herself. Lord, I ask that you bless her to exceed her expectations as well. And everybody under the sound of my voice that stands in the need of prayer, Lord, I ask that you bless them and that you meet the need. I thank you for being my Heavenly Father. And Lord, we do not take it for granted. Thank you to my Freestyle Friday experts for gifting their time to the community. And we appreciate it. Bless little Harmony over there as well, and everything that Harmony stands in the need of too. I pray this in Jesus' precious name. God bless you all. Have a great day. See you on Monday with Sharon D. Brown as our guest. Love you all. Take it away, Mackenzie. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.